you enter with a set of whatever elements that you want to share or that you know or that you are questions about maybe. And I enter with my own set, but we don't know where this conversation is going. Well, hello, everyone. Good morning.
Hello, Soph.
So we wanted to share something with you that has to do with this apparatus, which is that your throat in the morning can be a little bit, you haven't talked in a while and you could be a little bit congested from the day before, from sleeping and all that. And so here's
ice cream.
Is what?
Or ice cream.
Oh, ice cream. If you had ice cream for breakfast, sounds kind of fun. So my friend Evelyn in London does this exercise. She's a singer. She teaches people and she does this thing. So we're going to show you because it's kind of cool. So what you do is you basically blow, but you want to be singing while you're blowing sound. So exactly. Look, it cleared my throat right away. I like it. So
that's really wonderful because I have for years and years, there's this time in the morning where my throat just decides to get phlegmy. And so this is just such a wonderful way to clear that rather than going.
Yes. Yes. And it really does work. Like I was talking to someone the other day and they were like half choking while they were talking to me. And I was like, let's address that.
Honey, let's
not be choking while we're talking, shall we? I was excited to talk. I mean, I'm always excited to talk to you. But I remembered coming to your house to a party many years ago. I think it was a party for Christmas. And you had a note on the wall that said, leave the small talk at the door. Am I remembering that correctly?
Yes, you're absolutely right. In fact, we had a little menu for people who wanted to experiment with having what we call big talk, of having a conversation that allows us to actually connect more deeply rather than, hi, how are you? How are the kids? What are you doing?
How's the weather?
Right. So that kind of a bounce off, or what we sometimes call fly-by love, that you're not really getting that nourishment of connection. And so what we've been focusing on for many years is how can our conversations with each other be a source of nourishment and a source of deeper connection, and also play. So we had little prompts like, what's the most interesting thing you learned today, or what are you looking forward to, but also maybe kind of scared of. So it allowed people to stretch themselves a little bit without going, oh my God, I'm in an encounter group or something.
Yeah, I remember. It's funny. I think we are wired humans. Maybe we wire differently because to me, small talk is what's really scary. Like I do not know how to do, more than 35 seconds, just like.
Well, that's one of the things I love about you, Sophie, is that I don't ever have to worry about, okay, now we have to go through what I was just remembering is I used to teach in Berlin and in Germany, and I didn't know the language, but I could hear the tone of when my friend was having conversations. She would pick up the phone and there would be like actually 5 minutes of the and then I could hear them shifting into, okay, now we're getting to the business of the conversation. And then at the end, there was another 5 minutes of the and I thought, whoa, that's that's a
feel
whole
the difference.
Yeah, I could really feel the difference. And for me, I like to just get right to it. Like, okay, what's the business? What's the communication? Because it also allows me to use my whole self to respond rather than, okay, we're waiting till we, get through it. I think that is also part of I think it's fear-based in a way. Like if we have a ritual and, it's like you come and you knock on somebody's door and you wait for them to come and open it. You just don't barge in.
Yes.
But my friends can barge in.
We barge in. You and I barge in. We like that. I remember being on a date many years ago, not that many, maybe, 10 years ago. And I remember sitting and the very, 20 minutes of like, so where do you go on vacation and what kind of
Mm.
music do you like?
Right. And what's
I
your
could,
favorite food? And
I could feel my energy just going like more, just like bored and bored more. And at some point he says he wants to go to the bathroom. And I remember summoning my courage and say, maybe when you come back, we could have a meaningful conversation. Like maybe when you come back, because if not, I think we may not be. I was very,
and did he come back?
He did. Can you imagine if he escaped out the window?
That's what I was thinking. He goes to the bathroom and you never see him again.
Not at all. He sat down and he said, my mother died yesterday. And I was like, oh, wow. I mean, if that's what's present for you, we should talk about that, because he literally was covering that up with like, a pony show. And we had the most beautiful conversation. I didn't end up dating him regardless, but it was just, I remember this moment of like, you feeding me air, like, don't, like, give me something.
Yeah, I'm not getting any, there's no nourishment here. Well, I love it. What I was getting from what you were just saying is that we can be a door opener for people to be able to go deeper. And it was reminding too, one of my students the other day was saying that he was feeling so frustrated because he was having lots of connections with people, but it felt kind of superficial to him or on the surface.
Yeah.
And he was really wondering, how do I go deeper? And I think that's what you were also posing to your date,
my potential date,
a better word, of how can we go deeper? And I do think that's, for me, that's one of the things that has encouraged me to have these conversations with you, because I experience with you that there's something about our presence together that allows me to go to whatever is emerging and not have to cover anything up. And I love that. And I would like everybody to have the experience of, you can just be yourself and share what's actually going on and what you're thinking and feeling and wondering about.
Do you think what makes people, you said fear is one of the factors. Do you think people are afraid of sharing too much about themselves, or what do you think?
Oh, yeah. I think that people are afraid that they're going to be judged, that what they're feeling, there's something wrong with. Because we also, in our culture, we have this whole attitude toward feelings. And feelings themselves are sort of, we should be able to just leave them from out of the conversation. Everything would work so much better. I remember a couple who came in to see me for therapy years and years ago, and his goal was that she said, I would love for us to be able to have deeper conversations with each other. And he said, well, what I really want is that she's able to serve dinner on time. And this was the difference.
What century are we talking?
Exactly. That's what wow. So the expectations of the culture, but I think also people, I think most people feel that they're not quite right, or there's something that's wrong with them and people are going to find out. And if I say something, they're going to find that out about me, and then they'll leave me and I won't have any company, or I won't be lovable. I think at the root of that is there's something fundamentally unlovable. And so when I'm with people and I can see when feelings are emerging, and I open myself to, okay, something is wanting to emerge here and I'm willing to receive it. And they get that from me, and then they can drop right into what's really present. And there's something, to me, that's just one of the most delicious experiences in the world, is hearing someone else's authentic self, just expressing. I find that, that's better for me than I often forget to eat, actually, if I'm having those kinds of conversations with people over food. I get so nourished by that I go, oh, right. And there's food here, but it doesn't have the same quality that it used to have. Like, I have to eat something because I'm not getting anything from the person, or from our conversation.
Or possibly even deeper from ourselves, because as you just described, we can bring the conversation to a deeper place. I don't think I knew how to do that before. And so even if I knew I wanted that, I couldn't really create it. And so food was giving me okay, let's
It gave
do
you
something.
something that, felt like it might be nourishment. The other thing that was just occurring to me is that the co-creation, which we're calling play,
Yeah.
which in a way is really the tossing back and forth, and then something else happens. A third thing starts to
Yes.
happen where we can both drop into, old memories or what this is connected to or what we really want or a whole new vision. Like, oh, that just reminded me of, I want to, create this whole new thing. And I think that that's part of the nourishment of creativity that comes from allowing ourselves to go deeper. I was also just thinking that in my body, I can open that by letting myself breathe more deeply. I can open my body because I think we don't notice it, but a lot of times our bodies are not really open to the deepening because we're closed off in some way, that sometimes it's more obvious. But I think a lot that if I just narrow myself a little bit, and get just a little bit scared, that the reservoir closes up.
Yeah, that, and also maybe there's people are uncomfortable with the pause. Like I was just noticing that you kind of paused, and I could have gone in there, but I could see that there was more you wanted to say, but I was comfortable with that, including the fact that maybe you had nothing to say, and that was fine. We could have a pause. But I do think that when people are in conversation, they are wanting to avoid. If let's say they notice that the other person is having a feeling, they'll speed up to like not, they don't want to deal with the other, or they don't know how to deal with the,
yes,
right? Like maybe it's not a not wanting to, because I don't think people don't care but I do think that it makes people squirmy. Like, ooh, she's tearing up a little bit. Oh, like, let me get out of
like,
this.
oh dear, I've got to do something, and oh my, maybe it's something I did. I think you're
Exactly.
really onto something with the I notice in my conversations and the conversations that I observe with others is, can people leave a pause?
Mm.
And the opposite of that is interrupting, which I see, in on television, a lot of that modeling of you just speak over the other person, and that's not really a conversation or a tossing. That's like a competition of, and it feels like, climbing to the top of the heap. But if I can be just in that pause, there's that sense of letting something emerge, and having the rhythm of breathing and the rhythm of, like it feels to me more like a summer day where we're, out in the backyard tossing or watching the butterflies, and there's silence, which is also a communication that we don't have to put everything into words every minute, because I think that gets us also into an adrenaline cycle of, got to feel something in, got to keep going, because if I don't, the thing that wants to emerge is going to emerge.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really think that most people have gotten scared of realness, of just the emergence of something spontaneous, something authentic. That's really one of the things I most love about you, is that I never know what's going to come out of your mouth.
I never know what's going to come out of yours.
Exactly. And the joy of of discovery, and not just recycling, here's what I heard, and did you watch that show last night, but actual, what are you creating right now through your being?
And you know what happens if I was, I mean, I interrupt people. I'm a fast thinker. Sometimes I'm like, but if I'm truly, first of all, if I'm truly listening, I don't know what I'm going to say next because I'm listening. I'm not, my head is not like, well, what am I
You're
saying?
not rehearsing.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm finding that when I'm able to slow this train down, that's another way to bring the conversation. Like, I don't think people can talk weather for very long when I drop within myself,
Yes.
because I'll be responding, but I'll be like, yeah, it has been raining. Oh no, it has not been raining. But then I'm done. Unless it, like, particularly with you, I find that weather is never about weather. We always take it to the earth and how it feeds us and how it's a mirror of our own hydration. This conversation I love having with you, but that's not talking about weather. That's talking about what's touching you deeply, and
Yes.
if I slow down, if I slow myself down, it is one way that I contribute to the pausing, I find.
Yeah, what I'm hearing in that is not so much that you're slowing down, but that you're spreading out.
Oh yeah.
That there's space. And my sense when I'm in those adrenaline conversations that they're narrow and really forward. And the luxury, it feels to me when people give me space, I feel appreciated and respected, and that I'm being given my own timing, and that they're not rushing, they're more meeting. And I think it's one of the biggest gifts that we can give to the people we care about, and actually to anybody, is dropping into the space of being available. So available to receive. I invented a little phrase a little while back that I really like, which is receive, resonate, and respond.
Oh.
And I've been teaching that in classes, but also noticing that, am I open to receiving?
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes I'll see somebody coming at me, maybe somebody I know, and I just know they've got all kinds of stuff. And I'm going, now, am I really available to receive this right now? And I'll sometimes say, I'm not available for that conversation right now. I'm right in the middle of, so I will just preempt because I can see it coming toward me. Mm-hmm. But we underestimate, I think, the role of the listener, the value of being willing to receive. Mm-hmm. But then if I don't actually let myself play with it inside, like, here's what happened for me when I heard that, the resonating, then when I respond, it's not as rich. But if I let the resonating happen, then what I respond with is always surprising. It can be surprising to me too, because I don't know what's going to come up out of that resonating. So I love to be surprised by something spontaneous. Mm-hmm. That's a great joy for me. And so rather than, I don't want to hear the thing that I already know about this person, but like what's on the edges, what's emerging. I think that's what's most interesting to me, is what's emerging and what's most, what exciting to you right now.
Which, as you're saying it, I'm realizing that there is a strong, and we spoke of fear preventing it, but there's also the trust and the faith that it will be there. Because to expect an emergence, or to hope for an emergence, you kind of have to have a little bit of like, I trust this friend. She's going to enrich this conversation. I'm going to contribute something that surprises her. It's like there's a lot of inner...
Exactly, the between.
Yes.
What's going back and forth. And I would love our society to give more attention to the in-between.
Yeah.
What happens when we're really tossing back and forth, and and if you really just think of it as a game of toss, then I'm ready for what's coming out, and I want to receive it. And so I might move myself a little bit because I can see it's kind of coming in from the right here, or there's really a big one coming, or there's something that's very delicate. And so I want to kind of make a little nest for it to land in. And all of those things I think are going on energetically that give us this track record of being able to trust that, like when I toss the ball, you're going to receive it.
Yes.
And I think that only happens from the experience of actually doing that with someone and getting a felt sense of, they're here for me and here for them. And, that's just such juicy wonderfulness.
It's reminding me of this conversation I had with a therapist many years ago, when I realized I had never had a conversation before, where he explained to me that a true conversation, it was so painful.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. It sounds.
It was like, oh my God, I have never done what you just described. And I don't think many people do what I'm about to tell you, because his understanding of conversation was, you enter with a set of whatever elements that you want to share, or that or that you are questions about maybe. And I enter with my own set, but we don't know where this conversation is going. We are both going to enrich this moment with what you say, I'm going to take it in. You're going to take what I say. We together, we're going to be like, oh, there's this other color over there. No,
Right.
the way most people do conversations is I have what I have, and I want to convince you that that's what
Uh-huh.
you should
Yes.
probably believe as well. And we enter
Yes.
this
In other
thing
words,
with both
I'm right.
yeah, because I'm right, or because I'm attached to what I think is true, and I'm not willing to let that go. But I remember being demonstrated from him that moment of a particular situation we were discussing where he said, enter this thing truly not knowing where we're going to land, truly, like drop where you think this is going. And I remember having this like, wow, like someone was having surgery on my internal gut. But I remember walking out of there, never forgetting this, that when I enter, like I'm entering this conversation with you now completely. I mean, I have a sense of what we want to talk about, but not very arrested in, stone.
Well, to me, that's what I love is we have a jumping off place. I was just getting an image of the people who dive off of these, cliffs into the ocean.
Yes.
And, I've done that on little cliffs.
Little cliffs.
But jumping into the unknown, I find that's really the skill that we're all needing right now, is to be excited about the unknown and to be wondering about what's wanting to emerge that hasn't emerged yet, that can allow us to both hear what we need, but also to hear and to sense into what's going on around us on the planet with other species. For example, my cats, I have the same conversations with my cats. I turn toward them and I'm waiting for what's wanting to emerge. And so it doesn't all have to come in words. In fact, I think very little of it actually comes in words. It is in our own feeling and our body sensations and how we respond to that, and the shared space that we open up for others. And to me, that's just one of the most delicious projects that we can enter into right now.
But when you think of it, it also probably is one of the scariest, like when we're back to the light conversation versus deep conversation, you meet someone for the first time, talk about a leap. I mean, what an unknown to kind of enter the thing not knowing where we're going to end up. I mean, that's kind of the ultimate. I think it's the ultimate. Forget jumping from a cliff in the water. I mean, that's fun. But
right. This is
like jumping into the other person's being, right?
Yes. I was just remembering a party that I went to years ago in LA where, there were a lot of LA folks and, movie folks and that kind of thing. And somebody came up to me and asked me the "what do you do" question. Mm-hmm. And so I turned to them and I said, well, I feel through to the heart with laser love and evoke essence through deep play. And there was this moment where he went, he said, how do you do that? That's amazing. So it went in a completely different direction rather than the surface. So the willingness to be, and then to do something spontaneous, and then to let the play happen. It was great fun.
I remember similarly, not so much the LA crowd, although it was in LA, but I remember a friend of mine did this party, and she's a deep person, but she also has a part of her life that's a little more postured, personaed, whatever words we want to use. And I arrived at the party and I said, so how are you? Like she had just graduated from this thing, and she stopped and she said, oh, it's you. Well, actually, she just dropped.
She remembered who she was talking to.
In this moment, I'm like, wow, that's like almost like a bipolar, experience. But with me,
I was getting the image of an elevator.
Yeah.
She thought that she was having an elevator conversation, and then she said, "Oh, wait a minute! I can whoop. I can go deeper." And so for me, it's again the wonder question of how can we be a space for people to go to where they really are and to be able to share that. Because my sense is that the deepest nourishment that people are longing for is to be able to be themselves in the presence of someone else. And one thing I so love about what's evolved in my relationship with Gay is that there's no editing.
Yeah.
So I never have to think about, oh, I shouldn't say this, or I should say this a little bit differently. I can just blurt or cry or run around or or go or make it, whatever is happening, and it's received and part of the play.
I was at a pickleball yesterday, funny enough, and this one friend of ours, she talks about a lot of it herself. So it's not, I'm not revealing anything secret, but she was in a very, very bad car accident, and her brain got pretty much scrambled. And so now she has zero censor, zero filter. She's just like, blah, exactly as is, right? And so we passed her yesterday. I was with another friend and we passed her, and I said it in a way that she heard me. I didn't say it behind her back. I said, what's really cool with Ginny is that she just says what is, because, her brain doesn't censor anything. And the other friend I was with looked around and said, oh, I wish I could do that. And I said, yes. You actually can. You actually can say what you want. Maybe you don't need to say it. But she kind of like looked like, because she had it, her life is organized in a way that's very much what she thinks people expect of her and what tone she's supposed to use and what she's supposed to say. And she looked at me a little bit like, oh, that would be incredible.
Yeah. And so that sounds really incredible. And I think that it's that gate of fear. I'm going to be judged, or I'm going to say something stupid. So I like to, I first practiced this with people I knew love me.
Yeah.
Not the bank manager or the person who's going to do some evaluation, but someone with whom I can, be awkward.
Yes.
And not say quite the right thing or be searching for something. So that's the other, for me, the pause is allowing the journey inside, the looking for what is it that I really am wanting to say, rather than rushing it or not really landing. It's kind of as getting the image of a trampoline and getting the most wonderful, that's what I want to be tossing. And then, when people are jumping on the trampoline together, kids, and some people are bouncing and some people are on their backs, but we're all kind of in the same space and enjoying the energy of play.
I feel like you've said a few, but I'm curious in closing, like, what's a place to start? You just mentioned start with someone that you trust loves you. I think that's really, you can even do it in the mirror technically, right? You do it with yourself.
Sure. Yeah, you could. And I'm also, somebody was asking me about this the other day too, of where do I practice? And I started this conversation, and then I realized that my friend was going off a whole different direction. So I like to just let people know, hey, I want to create a deeper connection with you. And I wonder if that's something you're interested in. And so we get an agreement, and I might feel awkward, and, it might take a little practice, but I really like you and I want to deepen our connection. And so we start with that intention. And then there are two things that I find really make a difference. One is releasing my breath. Because when I'm scared or when I'm rehearsing, I hold my breath, and I think people do in one way or another. They don't give themselves enough breath, have the energy for discovery. So focusing on deeper connected breathing and then moving.
I was going to say, I was watching you as you were saying.
Breathing and moving. Because have you ever noticed when people are like, when they're scared, they get kind of,
paralyzed. Yeah.
Yeah, they get paralyzed and frozen. And so just even a little bit of movement and a little bit of breath is going to give you more juice for your brain, and more energy and nourishment for your brain. So I think that's a great place to start.
And more courage too. I feel like when I get, it's almost like I don't access the part of me that has a track record, that I was actually able to have a conversation with someone once, even if once, just be able to start building the
Yeah,
trust.
or
that when
I saw somebody doing that and I thought, oh, that's what I want.
Yes.
I don't know how to get there, but
Yes.
it's really that first step of I'm willing to, and I'm going to try it out. And that's why I suggest doing it with a friend or someone that loves you and thinks whatever you do is just fine.
Oh, well, here you go, folks. You heard it here first. Go practice with someone you love and and do little steps, just start little maybe don't start with a giant topic that's like the biggest topic of your life. Just start small increments.
Yes. Like, what's a stretch for you right now of something that you want, but you're just, you feel a little nervous about. So what is a stretch, but not a giant leap off the cliff?
Exactly. It's funny because as you said that, thank you for that, because I think our friendship is such a testament to that. But when you said that, what is something that would make you a little, and I went, nothing with you, nothing. How I have what you have with Gay. I have it with you. There's no hiding. There's no, what a beautiful, what a gift you are to me. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Back at you.
I will talk to you very soon on another episode. Bye.